You know, I was wanting to read the Bible this morning, and quite often when I think about, well, what do I want to know? It's a little different way of actually reading the Bible. Is I want to know what the Bible has to say about something. And I realized it's the 75th annual home show. See, once a year there are certain events that are very important to those involved in those events. Say you're a builder. And you think, well, I'm going to rent a space at the annual home show, and then I'm going to have all this business from doing that. Now, I think there are some annual events that I'm missing out on, and I just wanted to find out what they were. Now, I'm thinking it might be this one. Yes. Oh, the authorized version. Nope. Annual. I just want to see if they have the actual word in the dictionary. Because once a year, certain things happen, and it's kind of one of those where you don't get to talk to certain persons, but once a year. Yeah. Now, anima, ours. Yeah. I know that there's a birthday, and then there's the holidays. And there are different kind of shield, the Jewish army. You know, just looking through this dictionary, they have a lot of information. They have what's known as the armor. But I've already talked about that. And then there's the ark. Seemed to be of some importance to the Israelites. Yeah. We don't know where it's at, but I think somebody does. Wouldn't that be just a real upset to find out that somebody did actually have the ark and they wouldn't tell everybody where it is? Then there's Noah's Ark. I heard that they had found it, but then they covered it up. They didn't want anyone to know. You know, it's surprising how little we know about the actual Bible. And there's this group of persons that don't want you to know about it. They don't want you to know of any of the actual archaeological artifacts that they found about it. But it was Mount Ararat. I think that they had taken a picture of it, and then there was like a landslide or something. They covered it up. You know, this whole covering up of any archaeological remains that have the actual proof of the Bible, they don't want you to know. They're in control, and they have no reason for you, the individual, to have any supporting evidence of anything biblical. Now there's the apple tree. They probably found that. I mean, how many of us have seen an apple tree before? Yeah. I have. Yeah. And we know Adam and Eve was just a fairy tale. There's no Eden. There were no swine. There were no pigs back in the day of Jesus. See, there's nothing in this Bible that supports itself. There were no apostles. Yeah. They made up the whole thing. But for some reason, people keep reading it. And then there's the Apocrypha. Yeah. I've never read that part about it, but the Catholics seem to think it's important. Why? I don't really know. I'd once been given a Bible. I went to this Catholic church when I was on Guam, and I was talking to the employee of the Catholic church, and I was looking for some saints. See, my dead relatives, I know they're not saints. It's kind of difficult to believe that, but most of them they weren't that holy. They probably did get into heaven, but talking to them, like I said yesterday, is just a waste of time because they're not able to respond. But a lot of these, the Orthodoxy, the Catholics, they're like, no, you can talk to a saint, and the saint will talk to Jesus. I don't really talk to them because my thought is, well, let's say you're sitting there, and Jesus is wherever Jesus is at. He's sitting on his throne or whatever, and all these saints that have been canonized and beatitized, they all run up to him and say, well, I have these requests from these different individuals that happen to be living on earth. And he's like, well, I'm kind of a little busy. I'm listening to the other prayers of the individuals that don't talk to saints. Oh, now it's frustrating if you're Catholic because you kind of thought, well, I could get at the front of the line. But as I'm not a Catholic. I'm Protestant, though I do love Catholicism. It was really the basis of Christianity for the first 1,500 years. They did do a lot of really good stuff. Protestantism didn't really start until Martin Luther. Well, what happened was, remember that Orthodoxy, the Russian Orthodoxy, the Greek Orthodox, all these different orthodoxies, they all got going about the same time as the Catholics, and then they had this big schism. And then the Church of England, they decided, no, we're not going with the Pope. We're going to have our own. Now, they have the anointing in this dictionary. That's something I really like. If you don't know what the anointing is, something you might want to experience. I had known this guy in a really small little church. He was an African American man, and he was a preacher. And I was living in Everett, and he asked me, "Have you ever experienced the anointing of God?" And I was like, "I don't think so." See, I never know exactly when the anointing is going to actually happen in my personal life. Quite often when I read the Bible, I feel anointed, or if I'm going to preach to a group of individuals, yes, I might have an anointing, but they have the ant in the dictionary, yes. See, the anointing is something that a lot of people don't understand. They think it's themselves when it's not. And a lot of these saints that got beatified and canonized and whatever the Catholics do to do that so as to get their people in front of Jesus before the rest of the world, they were anointed. Yeah, they were very devoted to Jesus, and they had certain things that they did do. Now, I'm not in a big hurry, so I can make this as long as I want, so just shut the fuck up. I'm not very anointed this morning. I haven't even opened the Bible yet. I'm just looking for a word in the dictionary. So you just need to not try to get me to do something other than what I'm doing. Now, I'm trying to find the word annual in here. Seems to be some sort of problem with it because it doesn't look like it. I mean, it's in the dictionary, but it's not as a word in the dictionary that's being defined. Now, what? No. I'm looking for the word annual. Oh, no, look at it. Cancel this. This thing keeps doing whatever it's doing. Yeah. Now, well, I think it doesn't look like it's in here. And nice. It's spelled Annaual. Annas. Yes. Anointing. Yes. Oh, look at it. It just broke again. Look at that. Well, that's okay. I had to rearrange this yesterday so as to be able to use it. Now, this anointing of God, yes, it's something that if you do get to experience it, not a lot of people really do. It's kind of a special type of experience. I have actually preached to lots of different persons, really. And I had thought that at some point I might support myself and, really rent out large coliseums or convention centers or the different locations where large groups of individuals would want to come to hear me. Of course, I wouldn't expect them to pay. I mean, should I take an offering when speaking to people? A lot of worldwide ministries, they feel that you need to help them support their ministry, but what if I was rich enough that I didn't have to ask for an offering? I could just open the doors. I think there's enough persons that would do it for free, right? I'm not looking for donations or some sort of offering. You don't have to support the ministry. In fact, you don't have to listen to me. You can just sit there.